Welcome back, everyone. You may have just purchased an iPhone 13 Pro or iPhone 13 Pro Max, and I'll go ahead and show you a quick little tutorial, quick little, workaround or, tutorial on how to use this iPhone. Now, I split these up into two. The 13s are kind of different than the 13 Pros this year. They're actually quite a bit different. So let's start breaking it down. Now, first of all, on the outside, you do now have this, 6.1-inch panel just like before, but the notch is actually smaller. It doesn't really bring any new capability, but it is nicer that it's a little bit smaller, so I think that's cool. Now on the exterior, you typically don't have anything up top. On the side of the iPhone, you do have the, volume up and volume down button, as well as a ringer switch. If you want to quickly mute your iPhone, you can go ahead and put the ringer switch down where it's the red icon, and you can pretty much silence your iPhone. If you want to bring it, with notifications and stuff with the, sound, you can go and bring it up. Now on the bottom, you do have the lightning port. Now this is exactly where you're going to go ahead and charge up your iPhone. So you're going to plug in the lightning port here and then pretty much move on from there. You have a speaker set down here, and the microphones are typically here, but you also have a microphone back here as well. Now on the back of the iPhone 13 Pro, you have a triple camera setup. You have, the wide, ultra wide, and telephoto lens, the flash up here, the LiDAR sensor, which is great for augmented reality, and you have also the microphone right there. Now here you actually have a MagSafe wireless charger capability, so you can actually plug in your iPhone to a wireless charger and wirelessly charge your phone, which is really awesome. Now on the left side of the phone, you have the side button or the power button. You have the little, antenna band, whatever this is. And you also on the right side have the SIM card eject, slot. So you can take out the SIM card here, put it in, and pretty much move on from there. Now that's pretty much everything on the outside. It's nothing super crazy. It's nothing we haven't seen before. Now flipping the iPhone over, you see we have the lock screen. Now typically when you first boot up your iPhone 12 Pro or 13 Pro at that, you're actually probably going to have to go through the setup. Now it's a lot of personal information. You're going to have to kind of, walk through that yourself, but it is actually a very easy process, and Apple does a great job at explaining the whole entire process to you. Now once you go ahead and go through, typically you'll come into the lock screen. Now up here you have the time, date, and all that stuff. If you ever have any notifications, they'll come up right here and you can swipe them around by actually dragging the notification like this. Well, typically it works, dragging the notification or holding it down or whatever, and you can swipe through the notifications like this, and it's a very easy walkthrough. Now at the bottom you have a flashlight toggle, so you can hold it down and turn on the flashlight just like I just did. And you also have the camera toggle, so you can hold down on the camera right here and get into, a little bit of the camera layout. If you want to go back, you can just swipe up, but you can also drag from the side and get straight into the camera as well. So that's another really cool thing. And we can swipe up to essentially go back and forth, at least on the lock screen. Now on the top right, you do have the control center. If your settings allow it, you can swipe down and you'll get right into the control center. So a little bit of a walkthrough of this. You have your signal stuff, airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You can also hold it down to see your AirDrop settings right here, which is cool. If you ever want to get out of the toggle, just click on somewhere outside of the toggle like this. Your music will go ahead and play right there. This is your orientation screen, so if you want to lock it into this way, you can. If you don't want to, you can take it off. You have screen mirroring options right here. You have your sound and your display options right here. So if you want to increase the brightness, you can drag this toggle up and down. If you want to increase your volume, you can drag this volume up and down instead of going and clicking the buttons every time. Now right here, you have Do Not Disturb, which now brings a new focus mode. So if you click here, there's a couple new options here, which is really cool. But it's nothing super crazy. If you want to mess with these, I would implore you to actually do it, but you don't really have to do it for the time being. And you have your control center toggles here, which you can modify in the settings, which we'll get into in a little bit. So now at this point, we can go ahead and swipe up and we'll come straight into the home screen. Now, the very first time you actually get into your iPhone 13 Pro, you may already be familiar with this, but when you swipe through, you may actually see that you now have a smoother experience than even something like an iPhone 13. And the reason for this is because ProMotion is now on the iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13 Pro Max. So if you have one of these iPhones, you actually have that capability. It's 120 Hz refresh rate. It makes the iPhone look so much cooler and so much nicer, and I like this a lot. Now on the home screen, you can see we have all of our apps, all of our widgets. If you don't know anything about these app icons, essentially every application you download from the App Store comes straight into your phone. You guys already kind of know how this is. Now swiping all the way to the left, you can see we have all of our widgets right here. So let's say we wanted to bring a widget back on our home screen. Well, first of all, we don't really have any space, but that's still okay. What we can do is swipe to the left, just like we did before, and we can find the widget that we want. So in this specific case, I really like this battery widget. Well, what I can do is I can just go ahead and hold down the battery widget like this, shake it around so I can kind of move it with my finger, and I can go ahead and drag it over to the side, and I can go ahead and drop it on the home screen like this. Now you can see all of the app icons have minuses. This is basically, application, I guess, editing mode. So what we can do is we can swipe up like this, and we can go ahead, and if we want to get back into that panel, we can hold down on an application and we can go and click edit home screen, and you can see we get back into that little mode. Now here is where you can go ahead and modify a little bit of these settings. So if you want to go ahead and delete a widget, you can go and click that minus button and go and click remove, and it's going to remove that widget. We can also do the same thing for this widget, and we can also go ahead and bring a widget and move it around too. But we can also do the same thing with applications. We can go and move this, app icon right here, and we can go ahead and swipe through all of our home screen pages and modify really, all these applications and move them around. Now, let's say you want to fully delete an application from your phone. You may not want to do this for every single application, but you have that ability. What you can do, go ahead and click that minus button, and you have the ability of deleting the app or removing from home screen. Well, deleting the app will actually delete the application from your phone and the memory and all that stuff. But what we can also do is click remove from home screen. And what this is going to do is it's going to hide the application. So where is it stored? Well, basically, if you swipe all the way to the right, we have our app library. So this is where all of your applications are, housed. So even if you hid the applications here, they will still show up in this specific panel. So we can go ahead and swipe down and we can see a list of all of our applications. So I think that application was Translate. So if we scroll all the way down, we can see the Translate application right here, and we can go ahead and still open up this app if we want to. And so that's really cool. Now, let's say you wanted to go back home. Well, the process to do this is very easy. You see this little bar down here? Instead of a home button or anything like that, we now have gestures, which came like in 2017. So you may already know this, but we can swipe up and pretty much come back home. So we can go ahead and swipe around, and let's say we wanted to bring up, Photos app. Well, if we want to do the same thing, go and click continue right here. We can go ahead and swipe up, and pretty much that's how we go home. So click on an application, swipe up, and you come home. But you also have the ability of swiping between applications. So let's say I open up the iTunes Store app, and let's say I want to go back into that application I was just in, aka the Photos app. Well, instead of swiping up, finding the application, clicking on the application and opening it, what you can do instead is you can go ahead and drag that bar at the bottom, and you can go ahead and come straight into that previous application you were just in. It makes it so much easier to swipe between your applications. It's literally my favorite thing to do. And instead of even like getting into multitasking, you can just swipe them from here. Now, let's say you want to get into your multitasking panel and see all the applications you have open. Well, to do this, you want to drag the bar, and instead of dragging it all the way up out of the way, you want to kind of stop right here where you can see this other application, and you want to just kind of lift your finger up. Now, what's going to happen is you'll see all the applications that you have on your display. So as you can see, I swiped them all away. So if I go back into it, you can see that I can go back into that first application, go back up here and click back into Photos and move around, and you can also swipe these applications up if you don't want to use them anymore. So that's pretty much the main way to kind of walk through and kind of utilize those gestures. That is literally the only way you're going to go and modify this specific iPhone for the most part. And I really do think it's one of those main things you're going to look for. Now, let's say you're trying to look for an application or a message or whatever the case is. Obviously, you have to make phone calls here with the phone call app. iMessage app will go ahead and showcase all these other iMessages you have, music app, and all these things. But if you're trying to look for an application and you can't seem to find it, a really easy thing to do is swipe down from the bottom, just like you get into this specific panel, and you can search for, specific applications or anything else. So this is called Spotlight Search. Sometimes they're called Siri Search. What you can do is you can start typing in the name of your specific application or whatever you're looking for. So in this specific case, I already started typing in Photos. And not only does it suggest me the app that I just wanted to look for, which is the Photos app, but it also gives me photos that that I might think that I actually wanted to look for. So we'll go ahead and open up the Photos application, and you can go ahead and modify this and go through this specific application too. But it's another really awesome thing. And again, to go home, swipe up, and you pretty much come back here. Now, another thing that we're going to look at if we swipe over is our settings application. So our settings app looks like this. You want to go ahead and open it up. And I'm going to tell you, this is a pretty important app. It's going to house a lot of different things within it. And I'm going to be honest, this is probably the app you're going to spend a lot of time on when it comes to a stock iOS app. This thing pretty much houses everything. So up top, you have your iCloud settings. So you can go and go through and log into your iCloud settings and all that good stuff. Make sure those are good. You have your signal connections here, your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all that good stuff. Notifications, all this good stuff here. Now, this general settings tab is probably one of the more important tabs you're going to want to take a look at. So you want to go ahead and click on general. Now, here is where you can get more information about your iPhone. So this will house, your serial number and all that good stuff. We can go and swipe back. This software update panel is pretty much where you want to go ahead and click on every once in a while. Whenever an iPhone update comes out, you're going to want to go ahead and click on the specific panel and make sure your phone is up to date. If it's very outdated, you may have some bugs and glitches on your iPhone. So clicking on that and making sure your iPhone is up to date is one of the best things you can do, in my opinion. Now, a lot of these other settings are kind of random. I never really modify these, but the iPhone storage one is another area. Maybe you want to see how much iPhone storage you have left. Well, you can go and click there, delete applications and all that good stuff, date and time settings. And if you ever want to go ahead and transfer or reset to a new iPhone, you can always click here and you can always make an iCloud backup right here. And you can also erase all content and settings on your iPhone and reset your iPhone right here too. So you normally won't mess with the settings, too much, but you will probably go through and modify some of these, little tabs and stuff. So I recommend you to look through all these. The top ones are the most important ones you're probably going to modify. The bottom tier ones aren't really anything super crazy. So that pretty much covers it up here. Now swipe up and you can come straight back into home like we mentioned before. Now another really cool thing with our iPhone 13 Pro Max is actually the camera application. So what we can do is we can make our way over to our camera app just like this. And like we mentioned before with the iPhone 13 video, this camera did get a little bit of an improvement, which is really awesome. So if you ever want to take a photo, you want to make sure just look at the bottom right here, and it's kind of like a cheat code. It tells you exactly what mode you're in. So if you're in photo mode, you can go ahead and take a photo and pretty much move on from there. If you want to zoom in or zoom out of a photo, you can pinch your fingers like this and zoom out just like this. But you can also zoom in and zoom out just like, doing the exact opposite. But you can also drag this little option right here and zoom in and zoom out of a photo too, which is really awesome. Now, portrait mode is another really awesome feature. It's essentially, it enhances your photos. If you're taking still shots of people or animals, it does a really good job at kind of, blurring out the background and that kind of stuff. Now, panoramic mode is essentially panorama. You can go ahead and take a long photo if you want to, and you can also swipe between the, specific tabs like this. Now, the video option is another really cool thing. Obviously, every phone has it nowadays, but on the top right, you actually have the ability of changing the resolution of the video. So right now it's HD at 30 frames per second. If I click it, now it's 4K at 30. If I click it again, it can go to HD at 30, but if you click that little number on the side, now it's HD at 60. So it's actually a really cool feature. They implemented this in the last version of iOS, and I'm glad they kept it. Now, the brightness also enhances automatically, so it increases, which is really cool. Now, if you want to switch to the front camera, you can click on this little button, and it'll go ahead and switch over to the front camera. If you want to turn the flash on, you go and click on the flash in the top left, and it also showcases you the time of how long that specific video is that you were using. Now, swiping over, the new cinematic mode is really awesome. So this is a new feature within iOS 15 or within iPhone 13 Pro, and it essentially, like portrait mode, kind of blurs out your videos that you're doing and does a really good job if you're taking videos of objects, still objects, of people, of different things like that. I think it does a really good job at your specific iPhone camera. So this is a really cool feature as well. Swiping over, we have slow mode, and we also have the time-lapse mode as well. So those are pretty much the main features of your camera. Now, if you want to swipe back all the way to photo, you can go and swipe all the way over here. And then the top little arrow right here, you can go and click it. And you can also see more camera options here that you can modify as well. Now, typically the stock settings are good, so you don't have to do anything, but it is another cool feature that you have. Now, swiping up, we can come back home, and another really important thing is actually screenshotting on your iPhone. So if you want to take a screenshot of your iPhone, let's say the home screen or whatever, you want to locate the volume up button, which is right here, and the side button, which is right here. It's the only button on this side, and you literally just want to click them just like this. Now, you'll know the screenshot just happened because it just took the screenshot and put it in the bottom left corner. You can also go into a different page, take a screenshot here just like that. And if you want, you can go ahead and click on here, this little option, and you can go ahead and crop down the specific image. You can go ahead and do whatever else you want to with this specific image. And you can even share it out if you want to straight from here by clicking that share button. But in this case, we'll just go and click done, save to files, or you can save to files, you can save it to photos, whatever you want to. So in this case, I'll save it to photos because it's easier. And what we can do is make our way over to our Photos application. We can go and click here, and we can go ahead and open up that photo, send it out to whatever, and go through all of our photos like this. Now, the next thing is screen recording. Now, this is kind of like screenshotting, but to just record your screen. So we're going to go back into our settings application just like this. We're going to go down to that control center toggle right under the general settings. So we're going to click here, and we want to make sure that our screen recording toggle is put into this little batch of area with the minus button next to it. Now it's not. So what we can do is scroll all the way down, and we can see this little screen recording toggle right here. We want to click that plus button right there, scroll up, and you will see screen recording right here. So all you have to do is go ahead and swipe up, go into whatever you wanted to screen record. If you want to screen record an app, a person, of whatever it is, you can go ahead and do that by swiping down from the top right. You'll now see that we have this new control center screen recording toggle. So all we have to do is go ahead and click on that. It'll go ahead and start counting down from 3. And once this is red and once this is red, you'll see that it's actually screen recording whatever you're doing. So you can go ahead and swipe around, do whatever you want to. And whenever you're done, you can go ahead and click on this little stop button right here. Click stop, and the video will automatically be saved within your Photos application. So all you have to do now is click on your Photos application like this, and you will see that video that we just made, that screen recording, right there. And it's a very easy process, like I mentioned. You can go and share this video out to whoever you want to, and pretty much move on from there. So that's pretty much it. That is a basic how-to walkthrough of your specific iPhone 13 Pro. It's a lot within this like 15-minute video, but by this point you should have a good understanding of how to use this specific iPhone. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.